Hey there, this is your Asia market update for the morning in Asia of February 3rd, 2012. It's evening in the Los Angeles area of February 2nd, but it's already morning in Asia, and in particular Australia, where we have some friends, and New Zealand, where we have some friends, and Singapore, and China, and elsewhere. Good morning to you, and here's an update. I'm looking at the euro on the 15-minute chart, and I'll tell you what I'm seeing right here. This is important. This is a big deal, and it's very meaningful, especially before a non-farm payroll report. We have some consolidation in the euro in this area that I just shaded in this pinkish color right here. And a breakout from beyond these borders is a big deal, and it could retrace, of course, but the euro is reaching a point of breaking out and moving forward again, in either direction. And it's probably going to start tomorrow. And for those of you that follow the euro and follow the non-farm payroll report, on February 3rd, we're probably going to see some really significant activity here. And so I just want to call attention to that and make sure you can see it and that we talk about it, and then you can do with it what you would like. I have more trend lines on this chart than you can possibly believe. This is the Australian dollar, US dollar, and it's a 1-hour chart. And the 1 hour is breaking down, the CCI is breaking down below the 100 overbought area. And it just made it through a kind of a steepish trend line earlier, and now it's trying really hard to break through a less steep trend line right now, and we can get a better look at that on the 15-minute chart right here. We're breaking through this line just barely. It's trying to break down, and it looks like it's struggling a little bit, and I would expect in advance of the non-farm payroll report that we'll see something very similar here, that we're going to see this continued consolidation and a breakout. It's looking weak right now. I think that overnight and as the morning progresses in Asia, that we could see some bouncing around in here, but it is looking weak right now, and with the 1 hour breaking down below 100, this is interesting. Now don't forget that the trend is up, and if it does fall, we've got support at this trend line down here, and then you could actually bring this line all the way up and see that trend line support is pretty significant. So watch for that level to be hit and watch for that level to be support. Now if that support is broken, then we could see this fall a long way. And we've talked about the Australian dollar quite a bit actually, and talked about how these missed pivots represent really good profit targets. So let's bring up a brand new set of missed pivots on this currency pair and take a look at where the major missed pivot levels are. And underneath the current price, the monthly pivot's at 1.0474. Rarely does this currency pair miss a monthly pivot. So watch for the Australian dollar. If it does correct, if it does start to shoot downward and break through those lines that we talked about, watch for it to reach into the 1.0474 mark. Now for those of you that follow the AS Australian 200, the S&P index for the 200, I've got a daily chart that I want to show you next. All right, this is the ASX 200 composite index. It's end of day data, daily chart. And what I find really interesting, and what I drew earlier, drawing all these lines all over the place, it looks like once I draw a line I can't correct it. That's I'm going to end up drawing all kinds of stuff all over the place. So hold the phone just a minute. Okay, I've got it back. So I've drawn a trend line across the tops of these candles, and it looks like we could be breaking out above that trend line and heading back toward the 800 period simple moving average. If the ASX 200 is gonna break out, this is the time that it would do it. The trend seems to be down, however, and so I'm also looking at this on the daily chart. Now this takes a long time to break down. I'm looking for this to be support down under here, this line, and we're coming to the conclusion of this triangle right here, so something's going to break, and it looks like it's coming out to the top, but that can be misleading. One more little push upward perhaps, and we'll go overbought on the CCI set to 94, and then turn around and come crashing down through this trend line. If on the daily chart we crash down through that trend line right there, we could see a significant decline in the ASX 200. The alternative, once again, is up above 4,300 again, we could reach to 4,400, 4,500, and of course that's going to take months, not days. So that could take place over the course of February and March. But I'm looking at that and thinking that we haven't reached overbought yet. So if it can stretch above these just recent highs here above 4,300, we could see a great deal of movement upward. And that's an Asian session morning market update for your TFL watching, viewing, and listening pleasure. Thanks for joining me.